If you started a OnlyFans account and you're making money from it, I can almost guarantee you taxes and accounting was the last thing on your mind. At least that's the way that it's been for all of my clients that are OnlyFans creators. Typically the way it starts is start up the account, they start producing content, they start making money, and the money really comes in, and then they get a letter from the government saying that there's been active income coming into your account. Where is it coming from? What's happening? What's the deal? We want our cut. Now, 9 times out of 10, this causes stress, anxiety, and just overall not a fun time, which I completely get, fair enough. Which is why in this video, if you are a OnlyFans creator, I am going to give you a complete guide on how to manage and streamline all of your accounting and pay as little tax as possible. My name is Nevan, and I help OnlyFans creators, adult entertainment industry, as well as other entrepreneurial industries, and I help them streamline all of their accounting, pay as little tax as possible. In this video, it will be a complete guide on how to manage and streamline all of your accounting, so stay tuned. Okay, so here we are at the roadmap of how to track and manage all of your accounting as a OnlyFans creator. So starting here, we've got 3 options. You can do it through your personal, sole proprietorship, or a corporation. Now, the way you want to choose these is if you're making less than $5,000, I recommend the personal. If you're making around $5,000 but you plan on growing and scaling, perhaps going for a sole proprietorship isn't too bad of a choice. Typically what a sole proprietorship is it's just a separate name. You still take all of the risk and you still take all of the responsibility when it comes to paying tax. You don't get really any special tax benefits or tax structures. Basically the same as having a personal, it's just a separate title. If you make $5,000 or more and you're planning on growing and scaling, I really recommend you incorporate. The reason for this is you get a bunch of different options and a bunch of different benefits. As you have different tax options and different tax planning, when you go to sign up for a bank account, which is in the next phase, you've got different bank account options. And with that, you get different kinds of points, which could be used for travel. Safer for audits. So if you ever get audited by the government, having a corporation looks 1,000 times more legit, as well as your corporation takes on all the liability and it leaves your personal name out of everything. Typically speaking, a corporation is taxed between 20 to 30% depending on what kind you have, what state you're in, what province you're in, your location. It really depends, but you can expect to pay 20 to 30% tax in the corporation versus in your personal. Most countries, it's going to be minimum 40% and as high as 60% in some countries. So section 2 is going to be the bank account. Now, if you're going through a personal, you can have a separate bank account. It's not a bad idea, but it's really not necessary because if it's going through your personal name, you might as well just have the same bank account. It's less stuff to do and you can just start taking in the income without having to set up a brand new bank account. Again, it's the same thing with a sole proprietorship. If you do choose that route, again, you can get a separate bank account. I always recommend getting a separate bank account, but it's not necessary. If you are going to go for a corporation, 1000%, you need a separate bank account, and this will come with a bunch of benefits. Like I said earlier, you get better banking options. You can secure a loan a lot more easier, as well as you can get a line of credit. And the cherry on top is all of your finances and all of your expenses are all separate from your personal name, which makes everything 1,000 times more clear. I know it seems like a small feature, but trust me, when you're in the moment, it's extremely worth it. So now that you have your bank account all set up, we can go through the accounting software. Now, again, if you're personal and you don't have a separate bank account and everything is going through your personal name, Excel spreadsheets, Google Sheets, these will work just fine and they're free. If you've decided to become a sole proprietorship, you can still go through Google and Excel sheets. Again, if you're making less than $5,000, that is what I would recommend. It's not necessary to get accounting software, but if you are a corporation and you're making over $5,000 per month, I 1000% recommend you get a proper accounting software. What software? Well, if you were to ask any regular accountant, they would say QuickBooks. There's nothing wrong with QuickBooks. It's just QuickBooks is very difficult to use if you don't know accounting or bookkeeping or anything like that. QuickBooks, you need to take a 6-month course on how to use all of the key features and all of the key benefits. If you don't know how to use it, QuickBooks is going to be a nightmare to use. Yes, there are people that know how to use QuickBooks, such as QuickBooks Online. I always like to go for an easier software, and that software is Xero. The way that I explain this to my clients is Xero is like the iPhone of phones, and QuickBooks is like the Android. Yes, the Android has better software, has more storage, has a better camera. It's overall just a lot better. But at the end of the day, an Android and an iPhone are going to make the same phone calls. They're going to play the same music. They're going to text the same. They're going to watch YouTube videos the same. Everything is going to be the exact same. And in some cases, iPhone is a lot better. So at the end of the day, Xero and QuickBooks are going to do the same job. They're going to track and organize all of your accounting and tax. But Xero is just a lot more user-friendly. So I always recommend Xero to any clients. I also recommend them link it up with HubDoc, as well as HubDoc with QuickBooks here. The reason for that is because HubDoc is a complete separate app. It's basically a receipt bank. And what you can do is if you purchase something and you need the actual receipt to prove that purchase, is you can take a picture of it and it automatically gets uploaded to your QuickBooks or to your Xero account. So accounting software, just to recap, if you're personal and you're not a sole proprietorship or a corporation, go through it, if you're not a corporation, just go through Excel and Google Sheets. If you're a personal or a sole proprietorship, use Excel and use the Google Sheets. If you're a corporation, Xero linked up with HubDoc, or if you really want QuickBooks linked up with HubDoc. Now from there, it's going to be data entry, such as your income, expenses, and if you have staff, then yes, payroll. But I don't recommend having staff because it's a whole new world once you start hiring staff. Now, once you enter all of your data in, you're going to want to do this monthly, or you can do this quarterly, or you can do it one time at the end of the year. But I don't recommend that because that's when things get messy. You're under pressure to file your taxes. And if you end up being late, then you get charged late fees as well as interest on top of those late fees. Those are very expensive. Just to give you a quick example of things that you can write off as a OnlyFans creator is stuff such as clothing, whether you're buying lingerie, certain kinds of clothing, cosmetic, whether that be makeup or your nails. Let's say you're going to get lip filler, a gym membership. If you have to stay in shape for a certain audience, then that counts. And possibly your home or your apartment if you are using that as your recording studio. Again, this all depends on your location, which country you're in, which province or state. So I always recommend you consult with a professional that is in your local area. However, if you do have any questions, please drop them in the comments and I'll be sure to answer those. And just a quick tip, there are hundreds of different kind of expenses that you can expense when it comes to your OnlyFans account. So if you've ever sat there wondering, can I expense this item? Just think, do I need this item to make money from my OnlyFans account? If the answer is yes, then yes, you can expense it. If the answer is no, then no, you can't expense it. If the answer is maybe, you still keep the receipt and still enter it in, and the CPA will review everything. And that is it for today. If you guys found this video helpful, then make sure to like, subscribe, and if you make more than 6 figures per year and you want to automate your bookkeeping and pay less taxes, click the link below and let's talk. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.